I honestly was supposed to film another video that was not about this, but for some odd reason, my heart just wasn't in it. Hi, so today's video is about how I decided to become sober. Now, this video is something that is not easy to speak about. It's not easy to process, so I do respect anybody who can just take it easy with me. I don't have all the answers, and I love to say that I don't have all the answers because it's completely true, but I just want to come from an honest standpoint of how this decision has impacted my life and how it's made me a better person. So I want to begin with the fact that when I was drinking, it was very normal to me. This video isn't for me to shame anybody. This isn't for me to point fingers. It's just the honest truth. I feel alcohol has always been present. It's always been something that has surrounded me, and it was accepted and normal. This video is about me and my journey, so I want to focus on only that. It is important for me to mention that the way I was drinking and the way alcohol affected my life, I thought it was completely normal. I thought that drinking till I felt sick and waking up the next day with a huge hangover, and I would tell myself, I'm never drinking again. And we all know what happens when you say you'll never drink again. Come 2 days later, a day later, a week later, it's back right into it. I found myself in this vicious cycle for a couple years now. After I got sober, I had some time to really reflect and think. And I remember being at the laundromat and just seeing one of my socks in the dryer, right? This is worth it. Just stick with me for a second. I felt like the sock was me saying, I've got control of this. I know what I'm doing. But when you look at the bigger picture, you see that the dryer is the one making all of the moves. And I equate the dryer as alcohol. I was in this spinning cycle of, I completely know what I'm doing. I am in control, when in reality, alcohol was in control. I find the moment that I decided to quit alcohol was when I just couldn't take it anymore, and I didn't reach a low point. It wasn't something where I found myself in the street somewhere, and I think that that's a misconception that I had. I felt like in order to be an alcoholic, in order to be somebody affected by alcohol, you had to lose everything before you gave up alcohol. That was not my circumstance. Honestly, I just got tired of being tired. I did not understand why all of these problems in my life were happening, how it wasn't my fault. But in reality, a lot of the problems that I had in my life were always linked to, you guessed it, alcohol. Fights, random anxieties, pains in my body. It all was due to the alcohol I was consuming. I first started off thinking that I was just going to stop drinking for 1 month. I was on YouTube and I found this random channel of this girl who was so brave to speak about her sobriety and how scary it was for her. In that moment, after watching that video, I knew that I wasn't going to just be sober for 1 month. I knew that I had to change. I knew that I had to do something about alcohol in my life. The scariest part about being sober is making the decision and sticking with it. It was terrifying. I believe it has to do with the fact that it's impossible to see yourself 10 years, 20 years, 30 years and say, all of those days I'm going to be sober. I have to look at it from a standpoint of taking it day by day. And I know that's a big practice. I know a lot of people who are sober take that mentality because it's so helpful. If you just look at it as a small grain of rice rather than the full bag, if you can just promise today you will not drink, it's so much easier than promising in 10 years I will still be sober. But if you can just promise that today you will be sober, It's so much more easier. So a book that I found really helped me in the beginning of my decision to be sober was The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober by Catherine Gray. She explained how her life was completely taken over by alcohol and how she felt she would never be able to become the sober person that she is today. This book really opened my eyes to the fact that the routines and the relationship that I had with alcohol was extremely unhealthy. My rock bottoms were coming soon. They may not have been happening right in that moment, but when I was reading her words, I could tell certain similarities about instances that she went through that could have been me easily or have been me, and I just thought it was normal. Even if you're just sober curious, I highly recommend reading The Unexpected Joy of Being Sober. It helped me so much to understand that I can let go of that party girl, Lorena, and introduce another part of me without alcohol. It has opened my eyes to the fact that I am in control of myself. I now have to fully deal with my emotions, things from my past, without any crutches. I have to just be myself, ugliness and all. I have nothing to hide because of the fact that there is no substance in my life that I can rely on to do that. This isn't something easy to talk about, and I don't know if any of this makes sense, but what I really want people to just know about it is that you are able to be sober and have fun. To me, it seems crazy, but I know for a long time I relied on alcohol to have fun. Another thing I want to speak on is the fact that COVID-19 and being in quarantine has been a very positive moment in my sobriety journey. I know that's not the case for others. It's very hard to be inside all day and look for things to do other than drink alcohol. These months have been a blessing in disguise for me to really understand why I am sober, why it benefits me, and how I can manage in the real world when things open up again, how I'm able to move through a world where alcohol is legit anywhere and everywhere that you want it to be. Building the strength to decide that I am going to be living a sober lifestyle is not easy, but it's worth it. I've learned so much about myself in these last 6 months that I could have never learned if I was still drinking. This video is just a way for me to say that being sober is a possibility. I hope that this helps anybody who's sober curious or is sober, newly sober, and understands that they are not alone. We're all human and we all go through these types of circumstances, whether we like it or not. When you feel something is off and when you feel that you need help, it's okay to ask for it. The biggest advocate that you can have for you is yourself. And it's not until you understand and you make the decision to change your life, things will actually start happening. The moment I decided to be sober was the moment that I completely changed my life. If you have made it this far in this video, I want to thank you for watching. Please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. If you could please click the subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 1K. I would really appreciate it. I will be back next Wednesday with another video, and I will see you then. Bye.